regardless of what happens, whether we finish third or we finish seventh, my overarching opinion of the season remains the same. Because I believe the manager's done a better job than the last manager, and I believe the squad's progressing in the right direction. So I don't want him sacked. But I know for some people that 2 games, for some reason, is going to change their opinion, and he can either go from being Chelsea's best manager in the past 4 years since Thomas Tuchel, or he can be death to this man, get him out of my club.
Do you want
David? In terms of points, have you guys beat the points total from last season already?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have.
You know what's nice? Sitting there knowing that we've already secured Champions League football and not having all this drama. I'm just saying.
David, do you want to hear the opinion of someone who has doubts over Maresca based on these 2 games? So basically, no, I'm just going to say this. Obviously, after the Brentford game, at that point, I started to shift to Maresca out because I just didn't see like the way the football was going. I just didn't see him getting the best out of the the players. I think the 6-game one that we all were dreading, he's done a good job to get the amount of points he has. So I'm saying if he gets us Champions League and the Conference League, I'm going to give him next season. And I want to see if the squad's progressing and we play better football. Why are you shaking your head, Kunle?
I'm just saying the arrogance of you Chelsea fans. You lot think you're really that team. If he gets us Champions League football, then I'll give him, and the conference, we'll give him a go. Like, what's going on here? We'll give him a go. I'll give him another year, mate. If he gives,
what if Anthony gives Batiste a wonderful farewell performance and Nottingham Forest live the fairy tale, and all of a sudden Chelsea doing up FC Noah again next year? Is it Maresca?
He's done with you, yeah. He's done. No, he's done. Yeah. Done. So Terry, remember that thing you were talking about? Chelsea fans in the Abramovich era, and you can tell
if we don't win the Conference League, Tottenham would have had a better season than us. I said this on my TikTok.
But that's again, that's not true. That's not true. Like,
I think
they've had a more successful season, but they aren't a better team. I'd much rather.
That's what I said.
I'm going to let you handle this one, Kate. That's all.
I'd much rather be Chelsea right now than be Spurs.
You be Chelsea, we'll be sitting there polishing our new lovely.
But dude, let me ask you a question, dude. Do you think Spurs have had a better season than Arsenal, in your opinion?
Yes. They've had a better season and not a better team. They've had a better season.
Abramovich fans, Terry, remember what that thing we talked about? Yeah. They just talk different. They think different.
They won a trophy.
Dude.
Kate, put your cock
fans have
away,
hated
please.
90% of the season. They've hated 90% of the season.
Pipe down.
There have been 4 different instances where people were calling for Ange's head, minimum. Tottenham. Okay, I'm not trying to take away from your Europa League. What league games have you enjoyed this season? Out of 37 league games, which of them have you enjoyed?
The Man U one.
This is what we call foreplay. When you're a little bit older, you'll understand this is foreplay. We've been calling for ages.
I was not taking away your Europa League, Kate. Don't go at me.
I've enjoyed every Man United game we've played. I've enjoyed Man City games we've played. I enjoyed last night's game immensely.
First leg of the League Cup.
Yeah.
Wait, guys.
On
a serious note, right? Can I say this?
Nah.
Can I say this? Arsenal finished second in the league. Fair play. They've had somewhat of a challenge. They get Champions League football for finishing second. Tottenham just got qualified for Champions League for winning the Europa League, and they've got a trophy at the end of it. They've had the better season. And it'll be the same if we don't win the Conference League. I'll sit here and say Tottenham have had a better season than Chelsea.
Or 16th.
It doesn't matter.
Argument.
What does league? Unless you're finishing first, what does league position do? Okay, you get Champions League.
And now we're back to the argument of trophies are all that matter.
Listen to what I'm saying.
All the games they played this season don't matter because of a spreadsheet at the end of the season which has a little tick next to a trophy.
Listen to what I'm saying. Okay, fair enough. If Tottenham didn't win, let's say Tottenham won the Conference League, they qualified for the Europa. I don't know if that's how it works. They qualified for the Europa League. Different story. They qualified for the Champions League because they won the trophy. Arsenal finished second. All that does for them is qualifies them into the Champions League. So they both go into the Champions League, but Tottenham have got a trophy at the end of it. They have had the better season. I don't know what I've done.
Tottenham Hotspur have lost 21 games.
Games in the league.
We've got a trophy, and we're in the Champions League. No one gives a shit anymore. No one's going to remember that.
No one's going to talk about it. They won the Europa League. And they're in the final. They're in the Super Cup final.
Should I keep it 100? Okay, as the Arsenal fan on the panel, I'm going to keep it 100, yeah. Tottenham have had a better season than Arsenal, man. And the reason why, hold on. And the reason why I'm saying it is because
you are my guy.
Hold on. Right. The reason why I'm saying it is because typically Spurs don't win shit. So if they got a season where they've won something, like, and we haven't, it's different, man. I give it to them. Enjoy your summer. Like the Arsenal fan in me, banter wise, I freaking hate it. Like, it's horrid. But as a football fan, like, I'm not gonna lie, you needed to do Man U yesterday. I needed that because if we look at both teams, Man U have actually inflicted pain on me. Like, I have, you know what I'm saying, flashbacks of United of my childhood, innit? Tottenham haven't, so they can have this one. Right, it's gonna be a long summer. Don't get it twisted, but they can have this.
So you've not unequivocally given the best season you've won. I hate Man United more. They've given me more problems. So you know what? I'll let Tottenham off the hook on this one. They lost 21 league games.
They won
okay, Tom. If Man U lost 21 league games and Spurs lost 21 league games, which looks worse?
The pair of them were as bad as each
Man
other.
U, innit? It's a Man U. Spurs wouldn't be looked as bad, man.
We're not comparing Man U and Spurs. We're comparing a team, right? Okay, this is what's mad.
No, David, I hear what you're saying, but Spurs don't. If Spurs were Man U, let's say Man U won. Actually, I don't know, man. I'm gonna just fall back on it.
Couldn't. You made the semi-finals of the Champions League.
Said enough.
And you came second in the league. I know you didn't win anything, but probability says you're gonna win a trophy at some point because you are.
What about this season? What about this season?
We're winning a big one next year, man.
We're talking about this season. We're not talking about potential what might happen. We're talking about this season.
Spurs have finished either 16th or 17th. No matter
we
what they
did. 14th, actually. So get your facts.
What did Arsenal win?
If it was the Carabao, then maybe I hear it. But it was a Europa, man.
David, do you think your players are going to be so good?
Can I ask a question? I'm not even going to give an opinion on this. I want to ask a question as a host because Jermaine Defoe was asked this question yesterday ahead of the time. If Spurs win, they had a better season than Arsenal. Jermaine Defoe said, as a Spurs fan and a Spurs legend, he said. He didn't really give an either answer. He just said that it's hard to compare because Arsenal were competing in a much higher quality European competition and got to a semi-final versus Spurs winning the second tier competition. Does that not, as this is an objective question, so it's not a statement from me, is not getting to a semi-final in a much harder competition a better achievement than winning? By the way, winning the Europa League, I'm talking about moving the goalposts here. For the last 3 weeks, the mainstream media and rivals have said Spurs and Man United shouldn't even get a place in the Champions League. The quality of the Europa League has been awful. Now suddenly winning that is a better achievement than getting to the semi-final of what is considered the best competition in the world. I'm throwing it out there for object. Are we now stating that all that bullshit for 3 weeks about the lack of quality in the Europa League was just a big fat lie to shit on Spurs and Man United? Which of the two is it?
Terry, as a woman, I've been around many semis.
I like the argument.
Nothing beats the final. Let me tell you, semis mean nothing.
Can I explain it one more time? Can I explain my logic one more time? I'll say it one more time, right? Arsenal finished second in the Premier League, right? They finished second.
We heard you the first time. You'd have to say it again.
Yeah, but you're not understanding because they're saying
you got to say it different. Hey, Doobs, you got to say it differently now, not the same way because they didn't understand the first way you said.
Okay, I'm not talking about better team. I'm talking about who's had the better individual season. Tottenham have won a trophy and also qualified for Champions League. Arsenal qualified for Champions League and got no trophy. You're talking about European Cup. What about Arsenal in the FA Cup? What about them in the Carabao Cup?
What about Spurs?
Why couldn't they put that on one leg? Why couldn't they get over line?
I get that, but if you're going to use, listen, I understand it, and in terms of winning a trophy, it's more successful. I find it funny because you got Maradona here saying, "Ask the people who said it." You were one of the people that slagged off the quality of the Europa League and said it was dog shit. Now you're saying winning it is a better achievement than getting to a semi-final of a high quality competition. I'm just asking. No, Maradona. I'm talking to the viewer. I'm talking to the viewer. I don't really care personally. I just like how 1 minute this competition is trash, next minute the winning it is being used to beat teams over the head with that weren't even in it. My question to you is this, Doobs. Sorry. Next season, I can guarantee you win the Europa League, or I can guarantee you a semi-final place in the Champions League. You may go on to win it. Which are you taking?
So there's no.
So you're guaranteed
you
to win the
heard
Europa
him,
League.
dude. You don't need to repeat it, Terry. He heard
Guaranteed
you.
to win the
He heard
Europa
you.
League, or I can guarantee you a semi-final place in the Champions League, and you may go on to win it. Which option are you taking for Chelsea next season?
Guaranteed Europa League.
You bloody liar, dude. That's why you looked away. That's why you looked away. I'm saying, get out of here, man.
Listen, I want the trophies, bro. We've already won 2 Champions Leagues, so I want the guaranteed trophies. I might as well.
Nah, you're lying.
But I want more Champions League.
What's happening, man? Nah, dude, you are wild for this. You're wild for this. Why did I just hear?
I'm going to give up
No,
the
but
chance.
it makes sense now, dude. You make sense now.
I'm going to give them the chance to have the pinnacle, the best trophy, because you know what? I'd rather have the shit one instead, because at least I know I'll get that one. I'd rather still win.
Just to understand. I might have misunderstood. So you're saying I still have the chance of winning the Champions League?
Yes.
Yeah, you're in the semi-final.
It's not a guarantee. Right. Or a guarantee of it's just a question. It's not even related to who's had the better season.
Don't get bullied into changing your answer.
It's just a question.
You said what you said, bro.
No, I thought you said get to the semi-final and that's it. But
yeah, you get to the semis, but you're not guaranteed to win from there, or a guarantee of the Europa League. Which option would you pick for your club if you had a magic wand?
You know what? You say the Europa. Stop lying. Hey, bro, we heard you the first time. You heard the question. You got it. Hey, don't try and backtrack now.
I think I'll be honest. Yeah, I think I'd still take Europa. I'll be honest. I'll still take Europa.
This here from Paul. Paul Burke here says, Terry, do people remember the people that win the cup, or do you remember the teams in the semi-final? Listen, that is a really fair point, and I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing against it. I think Spurs deserve praise. Their fans should be over the moon and happy. At the same time, I also get what Jermaine Defoe said. I didn't think about it from this perspective, and then Jermaine Defoe said it. So I'm only going by what Jermaine Defoe has said here, and I was very clear about that. Arsenal weren't in that competition, so they can't win it. You know, it's like a non-league team winning the FA Vase Trophy and then going to I don't know, Wrexham. You didn't win it. Well, they can't win it. They weren't in it. I get what Jermaine Defoe's saying. Spurs, though, absolutely should be congratulated. Because there was one other topic I want to talk about, but I want to just jump through these super chats for a second here. Leeds have Leeds had a better season than Arsenal? They won a league trophy.
I've explained my logic.
To compete in the Europa, you have to have fouled in the league by finishing outside the top 4, and winning the second-tier trophy is a better season. There is logic to that as well, to be fair. There is, because, I was saying that to a few gooners the other day that were like, no, I'd rather...
You're saying about finishing outside, that was last season. That was a last season issue, finishing outside the top 4. When you win in Europa League, that's this season.
That's fair.
I think this is a better analysis. Spurs are going to enjoy their summer more than ours, but we might have had a better season.
I don't know when football fans change so much, they can't just turn around and go, well played, and they've got to go, oh, it's a crap trophy. I mean, I agree with that. I'm just, Kate, I'm calling out that I find Spurs winning it last night has changed every... Have you noticed there's been not one article? Have you not noticed there's not been one article today, like I fucking said there would be? Not one article going, Spurs don't deserve the Champions League place. It was very much about Man United, that part of the conversation. It was very much, it's gone. Suddenly it disappeared. Fucking Miguel Delaney shut his big fat mouth up today, isn't he? I ruined him yesterday. That was fun. Question to the panel. If a team finishes 16th, 17th, 42 points off the top, but wins the Champions League versus a team that finishes second, 1 point off top, and the semis of the Champions League, which team has had a better season? Team that wins the Champions League.
The Champions League, mate.
Yeah,
come on.
Champions League. Yeah.
That's where it comes into. Just the Champions League is the pinnacle of the sport.
Well, the league. Yeah.
Like Terry. If I could have it over 20 years, because you can't win the Europa League back to back, you can't do it. If you've got 20 years, you've got 20 years. You either get 10 guaranteed Europa Leagues, or you get 20 years of being in the semi-final of the Champions League. I'm picking this Champions League every time. Because one Champions League
But
is
that's,
worth like 5
but that's
Europa.
also why there was a lot of disingenuous stats that went up last night where it says total total European trophies won by English clubs. And there's one thing I would say, and this is something like with Arsenal, for instance. Do you know why Arsenal have probably got less European trophies than other people? They didn't have many to begin with, but they were in the They didn't win the Champions League, so you can criticize them for that. But had they been a slightly worse team that was in UEFA Cups for like
been dropping into the Europa League points.
If there was less teams that used to qualify for the Champions League, like because when they first started introducing the second place team, they were like second a lot, right? So they were in the Champions League against harder sides. Had they been in the UEFA Cup at that point, maybe they would have won some more. It's one of those things, isn't it? You know, Sevilla have got a lot of European trophies because they've won the UEFA Cup and the Europa League a lot. It doesn't mean they've got more of a pedigree than, say, an Inter Milan, who have predominantly won Champions League. You have to be very careful with European trophies.
David, can I ask you a question? 18-19, who had a better season? Chelsea win the Europa League or Tottenham get into the final?
Wait. I can't remember that season.
18-19. Tottenham got to the final. We won.
Where did we finish? Where did they finish?
You finished in the Champions League.
Hang on. Yeah, hang on. I'll get the league.
No, we didn't. We qualified for the.
No, you did. You already qualified for the Champions League.
Hang on. That season, Chelsea finished third. Spurs finished fourth.
Oh yeah. Go on then.
I'd argue Chelsea because they both in their leagues won Champions League qualification, and Spurs didn't end up with the trophy in the end.
So,
but for me, the reason why the Spurs and the Spurs and the Arsenal thing is a nonsense is because Spurs are so bad in the league. They are so bad.
You said Champions League qualification. They qualified for the Champions League by winning Europa.
Equally, but you've got to say Chelsea though, because Chelsea finished above them in the league, which means they were better than them that season in the league, and they won a trophy. Like that's what it's the league. By the way, Spurs this season were fifth, and they won the Europa League. I don't think there'd be any argument from anybody. They say a better season than Arsenal.
No, it's the fact they're 17th. And
I agree. Do you think only English teams will win the Europa and Conference League since teams don't fall down from the Champions League anymore? Not necessarily. I mean,
yeah,
because Crystal Palace are in it next year. Like, I don't think Crystal Palace is going to be the best team in the Europa League next season. So Arsenal had a worse season because Arsenal couldn't win a trophy from a competition they were too good to compete in.
Okay, what about the other two trophies? What about the other two domestic trophies?
Neither of them won any of them, so it's kind of...
Yeah, but Tottenham won the Europa League. They've won a trophy. That's my point.
But Arsenal, but the Super Chatter's point is Arsenal couldn't win that because they weren't in it. So how can it be compared against Arsenal?
Let's talk about the Prem then. Why couldn't they get over the line against
Arsenal? But hang on, you got to remember, this is not about them winning the league. This is them versus Tottenham. So in the League Cup, they got to the same stage, yes?
Yeah.
FA Cup, how far did you go in the FA Cup?
We got further, didn't we?
Yeah, they got further.
By a couple.
Arsenal got knocked out by.
So Arsenal went out round 3 to Man United, and then Spurs went on a bit further. League second versus 17th. Arsenal got to a semi-final of the top European competition. Spurs won that as an example. So in the comps they competed against each other in, they both didn't win a cup, and Arsenal finished much higher in the league. Europe, Arsenal got to the semis of the better, harder competition. Spurs won it and did fantastically. We can't be. The only thing I agree with is you can't slag Arsenal off for not winning the Europa League that they weren't in. I've seen some gooners do that, and I'm like, you weren't in it. I don't get it. If it's just reasoning, then Spurs would have a better season than Chelsea, even if they win the Conference League, because they won a bigger trophy. Well, Doobs has said that. He has said that it's been a better season than Chelsea, right?
Or if we don't win the Conference League, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, have you had a better season than Arsenal if you win this Conference League and you don't get Champions League?
No.
Mm.
Oh no! If we don't get Champions League, no. But if we get Champions League and we win the Conference League, yes.
That's not what I asked you.
English teams were banned from Europe when Arsenal won the league in 1998. That is also true. I think Everton probably also feel a bit sore about that because they had some very good teams in that period too and weren't able to compete in Europe. My club, different reasons. We had a team that probably would have won 3 or 4 in the late 50s, early 60s, but unfortunately they died, passed away. God rest their souls. Before we end.